Welcome to Transformations with Tara. This is Tara Sutphen. This is Tara Sutphen. You know, I may be on our Facebook Live is maybe feedbacking, giving us feedback. It's acting up this morning.
So turn down the volume on the Facebook Live.
I am trying to here.
Part of it. All right. Well, we have with us.
Yes.
I will just say formally, Dr. Shelley Stockwell-Nicholas, also known as Shelley. Welcome, Shelley.
Thank you, Jason.
And here we are on Transformations with Tara Sutphen.
Yeah, and usually we can get in. We can get in here.
Sounds like it's feeding back in your headphones, Tara.
Right.
Yeah.
Here, go ahead and talk. Go ahead.
All right. So Shelley.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Give us a little background there as to what it is that you do in the world.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you and Tara for letting me come on your wonderful broadcast. And second of all the people out there in Zoom world, Zoom. I remember Zoom from Captain Video. Anyway, I'm a hypnotherapist, and I think I'm hip and I gnosis everything. And I think you're hip and you gnosis everything. And today I would like to discuss how much you gnosis and how much we don't gnosis that we really know. It's a very interesting thing, the mind. And I'm obsessed with the mind. I've written 25 books on the mind.
Whoa, 25 books?
25 books. There's some of them very popular. One book is called Hypnosis, Smile on Your Face and Money in Your Pocket. And it's a bestseller, so I'm really happy about that. It's in many languages, and my books are really how to master your mind as a mastermind. That's the whole thrust of what I write. And I love my work, and I've been doing it for 53 years.
Whew. I know you have really been just a pioneer really in this field. You have just forged forward, and always a smile on your face and the most beautiful laugh as you enter a room. You're just such a ray of sunshine.
Oh, thank you. I love you too, Tara. You're beautiful.
Thank
also.
you. Yeah.
So yeah, it's funny when you find something that really resonates with you, you've got to follow your bliss.
Yes.
And the day that I found hypnosis was the day I said, how did this work? How could somebody talk to me for like a minute or a few minutes and change something for good?
Right.
And it really came down to paying attention to yourself. And so much of, I'm sure the listeners out here, they've been trained to please everyone else, to be the good little boy or the good little girl, or to do good deeds, which is nice. We love that. But they forgot about themselves in the process very often. And when you take time to remember yourself and honor this amazing gift you have called an earth walk, everything changes. You start to celebrate that you're alive, that we're talking to each other on a machine right now. And we're talking to these wonderful people out there. We can't see them, but they can see or hear us. And we know they're out there. And we're all part of this great web of humanity that really cares about being okay. And what a miracle this whole thing is. And mastering your mind as a mastermind, mastering your thoughts, and taking loving care of yourself makes all the difference. And then you can give. You can just give to your heart's content. But if you lost yourself in the process, you're like a marshmallow in a cup of hot chocolate. You just vanish.
That sounds delicious, though.
I'm going to have to make you a cup of hot chocolate.
All right. But that it is so true. You're just, you're part of the whole spectrum of life, but you're not living it.
Exactly.
And
And we've been taught not to be selfish, but come on, you've got to be selfish, because if you don't honor self, you won't eat properly, you won't sleep properly, you won't do good things for yourself. Then give, give, give. But otherwise, you'll be like the giving tree in Shel Silverstein's book. You'll be all chopped down.
right. Well, they
You know?
say, like narcissism is a problem, that it's a real social media storm, really. And but you have to have a certain amount of narcissism to be healthy. And if you're on the spectrum of narcissism, then it's a problem. Yeah.
Well,
And then if you're going in a sociopath or psychopath, but it's just that you have to be heal the mind.
yeah. I mean,
Everybody needs it.
well, I guess I've met a few narcissists, I think. I'm not one of them, of course. No.
That's usually the giveaway.
That's the giveaway. That's usually the tip off. So, but there are people that they can't get out of their own walls.
Right.
They're caught in their walls, and that's maybe their process. However, you have to be in your own wall enough to know that you're a miracle. You have to know that. And then you can look around and say, oh, you're a miracle too.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, it's just like a healthy sense of self. It's you have these defining aspects of what it is that you bring to the bigger picture, and you can cultivate those things. You can focus on those things. It's like, these are my gifts, these are my talents, and recognize that you're adding to the larger whole in it. And when you see that's when it's like a healthy divide there as far as the self.
I've got a cool exercise that's really cool about that.
Mm-hmm.
I think you'll like it. Okay. So everybody out there, take a deep breath, let it out, and focus on your headspace. In other words, this beautiful brain in your skull, this headspace here, just focus there and say, am I taking loving care of myself? And just ask yourself that, just quietly, and see if you get the answer. Yeah. So that's what I call a headspace. And then go down to your heart. We call this the heart brain, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, breathe to your heart. Am I taking loving care of myself? Am I being empathetic to myself?
Right.
Yeah, good. And then go down to your gut. That's where your emotions are. And see, am I being true to my most magnificent self emotionally? Am I honoring the most beautiful emotions that I hold? Am I honoring those? But then take a deep breath and imagine that standing behind you is your higher self, your all-knowing self. I like to call it my all-gnawing self, okay? Standing right behind you is this wise you. And ask the wise you, how am I doing in terms of taking loving care of myself? And you might get a little suggestion or two from that part of you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, kick it up a notch. Let's put it up all the way to spirit, God, higher self, all-knowing universe. Okay. How am I doing? Am I in alignment with my core values and with my soul purpose? Am I in alignment? See, we've got this kind of hierarchy or energy vortex, let's say. See if we're doing well in that alignment. And then say, all levels, is it okay if I give more love into the world so that I now love other people? Is it okay? Is it safe for me to do that right now? With discernment.
Yeah.
Discernment. Yeah. So that's just a nice way to kind of get a strong stretched and centered, I think. You get it.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Isn't that nice?
Yeah.
Nice little exercise.
I feel good.
I feel good. How about you, Jason? You feel good?
I'm just gonna rest now. Like your work is done. Thank you.
I wrote a book. I want to show it to you.
What? Yeah. What's the book?
One
yeah.
of my 25 books. This is called Mindfulness Made Easy.
Is this a latest book that you
No, this
wrote, or
my most latest book is called Spiritual Counselor Secrets. Shh, don't tell anyone. But this one I thought was really important for today.
Yeah.
Because I think we need to be really clear on what we're taking in, what we're taking in from ourselves, what we're taking in from the world. We need to be very mindful of what we believe, because some of this is hypnosis that may not be serving you well.
Yeah.
And if you're taking in information from the world that's making you stressed and anxious and fearful, be careful.
Yes.
Because first of all, you can't control the world, but you can certainly make a difference. But you can't walk around in fear. And there's a lot of fear manipulations going on. Be careful. So to be mindful means to pay attention to what am I thinking? And then the answer is, says who? Says who? And everyone has their own agenda. So pay attention to the person's agenda and pay attention to what am I thinking about that? And that way, you won't be in fights with your friends, and you won't be having schisms between I believe this and I believe. No, you'll just think, this is who I am and how I feel and what I think. And says who, and so I'm going to be discerning and choose the best path. And then you can believe or think what you choose, but I'm not going to be at war with you, because there's so much dissension now. But it starts with you being mindful about what you're believing. Because, you know,
Yes.
a lot of times you believe stuff. Let's go back in time. Tara, do you remember the first guy you fell in love with? You're probably in 3rd grade, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, right. Do you even know his name anymore?
Yeah. Yeah.
she does?
Yeah.
Do you still know the guy?
No.
No. And do you wonder what you saw in him in 3rd grade that you would not see in someone now?
No, I saw beautiful qualities.
Oh, that's good. How about you,
Yeah.
Jason? 3rd grader, the first person you fell in love with.
Yeah.
And do you ever see them again?
I've looked them up on Facebook,
Yes.
but no, I don't stay in contact.
That's so
Well,
funny.
so see what happens is when we're in one phase of our life, we might see things one way. We make a decision. You know, the guy that I liked in 3rd grade, he looked like a little monkey. He was very cute, but you know, I don't think I'd go for him today. You know, he's not my kind of guy. But you know,
He'd be a monkey man. It's like, come here, my monkey man lover.
Right.
like little monkey babies together.
That's funny. Yeah.
So
Oh my
you know,
God.
we have these different ages and beliefs based on hypnosis. Like your mama hypnotized you to believe certain things about yourself.
Mhm.
Now, some of the things your mom hypnotized you to believe were true, but some of them were nonsense. They made no sense at all.
Like, you've met our
Right.
mom. Oh my God. Unless she's listening, and then it's like, no, it was all wonderful.
Yeah, she is pretty wonderful.
Yeah, you're
Come
lucky.
on now.
You're lucky.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
you know, even so, she may have had her own distortions and believed certain things that, you know, or you may have taken on a belief that's completely ridiculous. Like
Mhm.
my first husband believed that there was something wrong with the shape of his head. Why? Because people would always say, oh, he's a towhead. And he thought his head must be shaped like a toe. But that meant he had white hair. So a towhead to him was something's wrong with me. That was a belief he took on, which was ridiculous. But, you know,
Isn't that funny? That is funny.
it
Because,
is
yeah,
funny. Yeah, you're a towhead. Well, I mean,
Yeah.
you're literal, so you think I got a
Yeah.
toe coming out of my head or whatever.
right. I have like a scaly, you know, toenail coming out of my head or something.
I'm a toe
Stand
chin.
Yeah,
You're a
toe
toe-chin.
chin.
I'm a toe chin.
You are a toe-chin. It almost sounds like a religious cult.
It does
Yeah.
kind of like, bow to the Tochin.
So what happens is that we take on ideas based on our age, but based on the power of who hypnotized us. So certainly the biggest hypnotist when you're a baby is your mom, because if you don't do what she says, you don't get the milk, and then you die, and that's a pretty big consequence. So then you learn to be hypnotized by your siblings or your father or your religion or your friends or your culture or your peers, whatever. You get hypnotized by different groups, different places, different situations. But if you're mindful, no matter where you are in your life, you can say to yourself, what am I thinking? Says who? Does that align me with this and this and this and this and this? Am I in alignment with my true self? That becomes a gift you give yourself. The alignment of self in mindfulness. And so that's why the word mindfulness is kind of a buzz right now, because people are like coming to their senses.
Yes. And trying to a lot, you see it all over the internet, people really trying to step into their betterment.
Exactly. And
we're definitely in the right field for all that.
Oh, we are so much in the right field, Tara.
Yeah, no, thank you.
How many years have you been in this field?
Oh, it's going on 40.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's great. I first met Tara. She was just a little blooming flower. She was so beautiful, and still is. And she was just, and Jason, I just met you recently, but I bet you were a little flower too. I would love to have seen you as a little boy growing and blooming.
Yes, absolutely.
He was fun.
He was.
Yeah. Was
fun. You are fun. You are fun.
You know what?
Fun,
the thing about all of us is we're still flowering. We're still blooming, blossoming into the next versions of ourselves.
Exactly. I tell people I'm ripe.
It's supple. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love the work we do, and
I do too.
And it's really not work, and it belongs to everybody. It's just that we call ourselves by different titles, but everybody has the abilities that we're talking about. And the biggest job of a soul teacher or a hypnotherapist or a writer or a how-to writer or a helper of any kind, the biggest job we have is to bring people into their magnificence. And that's the gift. And how do you do that? How do you help your kids be magnificent, or your grandkids, or how do you help yourself be magnificent? How do you help your brother or sister be magnificent, or your mother, or whatever? And the only way I know to do that is to be mindful of your needs and everything, but then be mindful of their needs. What is it that you need that I can give you without a great expense to my own well-being? What can I give to you to make you a better person? So hypnotists or helpers that are good, they hold the mirror so that you reflect on your perfection, and they get over themselves. Otherwise, they're doing this, and it's all about them. Blah, 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 blah. And so many people do blah, 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 blah. Let me give you advice. Yeah. But there's no advice that you need regarding yourself, because you're the expert. So mindfulness allows you to walk into that expert self and say, exactly what is my true gift, my true calling, my true desire, and how do I step into it? And in NLP, there's this exercise called the magic circle, and you can all do it right now. You can put a circle on the floor in front of you, like a little circle. Okay, and imagine that's your circle of excellence. Okay, being your excellent self, your excellent Jason, your excellent Tara, your excellent person out there who we're talking to. And if you're standing or sitting, if you're sitting, you put your feet in it. If you're standing, you can walk into that circle and stand in it. Just stand in your circle of excellence. and know that when you're standing in the circle of excellence, you're being your best version of yourself. Mentally and physically and spiritually, emotionally, you're stepping into excellence. And just breathe it in. Ah. Ah.
That's really nice, even for somebody who feels like they're nervous about doing something. They can step into their excellence. And that way it's the energetic field of excellence.
Excellent. And then
Yeah.
you reach down and grab that circle.
Right.
Okay, grab it, fold it up, make a little package, and put it right in your heart.
Right.
Okay. So now you own it. You are the circle of excellence. And anytime you need to, you just whip it out, throw it down, step in it.
True. Well, I mean, that's how we're energetic beings. When we consciously do like these exercises, it does help you like get into your zone of being, better.
It does. Now, Tara, I noticed that behind you is a guru.
Yes.
Tell us
That
about
that's Lahiri. Lahiri was Yogananda Paramahansa, his guru.
Oh,
Yes.
okay. Is he still on the planet, or is he
Oh
ascended?
no, he's been ascended for a very long time.
Okay. And now I bet you he was in his circle of excellence all the time.
I really feel so. Yeah, I feel so.
Yeah. So, Jason, do you have a guru, somebody you look up to like that?
No one in particular. As far as there's a lot of influences that are either cultural or literary, spiritually. There's been really great thinkers and all, but no one that just like is like it, the focal point of it.
Yeah.
Like I would like to be just like this person. It's like it's a little bit more amorphous.
Yeah, well, of course, there's not another Jason, so you couldn't be like them. But yeah, I don't have one either. So that's why I was interested in your picture, Tara. And I'm like Jason. Gosh, there's so many people that are so magnificent. It's like,
Oh yeah.
But I remember seeing a picture of Guru Mai.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't ever meet her or know anything
Mhm.
about
Yeah.
her picture spoke to me energetically. I thought she must be a really special person. Then I heard that she quit being a guru.
Yeah.
Like there was an expiration date on
Yeah,
the guruness.
She said to her followers, "I don't want to be followed. I want you to find your own perfection, and you're looking up to me too much, and it's not right. So I'm stepping down." Which I thought was really interesting.
It's like that part of Forrest Gump when he stops running and says, "I think I'm going to go home now. I'm kind of tired." After everyone is following him, like he's the running guru.
Oh.
He's got the answer, right?
Well, that's well said.
Right.
Gosh, I never thought about that moment, but that was a great moment in that.
It's one where it's like every teacher, right? Like lets go of having students and all, and it's like it's a challenge, right, to the student to rise up to their own mastery, where they're no longer the student, where it's like, okay, it's you now, you're the one.
Well said. It's kind of like The Wizard of Oz has the same message when you think about it. Dorothy has all these things and finds out that everything that she's seeking is inside of her, just like her characters that march along with her.
Yeah.
And she goes back home again.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of lame in that she has to go back to a black and white world, but it's no longer in vivid color. unless she changed it,
Unless she's wearing the ruby red slippers for the rest of her life.
There you go.
Yeah, that's what. There's so many good things in literature, and there's so many weird stuff in literature.
Yeah.
Like
what?
Oh, okay, all right. So the story of Jack and the Beanstalk.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That guy was a home invasion robber.
Yeah.
He climbed this stalk. He went to someone else's house. He stole their stuff, and then he killed the guy.
Well, I mean, it's a scary one. I always think of that.
That's horrible. That's a horrible
That little
story.
story is very scary.
I mean, he was a
Yeah.
creep. He was a creep. He literally entered someone else's domain and murdered them. And we're supposed to think that's a cute fairy tale.
It's a
I know.
children's story.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
It's
what
like-
are you teaching children? You know, like that's terrible. He was a creep. But
Well, I
then-
don't think that it does teach children that much anymore. You know, I mean, I don't think it's like when we were kids, it was normal to be read that, but I don't think a lot of the kids know anything about that anymore.
Oh, you're probably right.
Yeah.
I'm sort of out of the kid loop here a little
Well,
bit.
you know that Sesame Street's on HBO, I think now.
I love Sesame Street.
Well, Everest doesn't. She doesn't love Sesame Street. She thinks they're kind of like anybody that's like in a monster suit. She's a little afraid of.
Well, I can understand that. I brought some of my
Very discerning.
I
Yeah.
brought two of my friends' kids to see. I rented a movie at that time, and it was Pinocchio. And when the nose started to grow long, this one little kid went nuts. She was sobbing and crying and really upset. You know,
Mhm. You had to deal with it.
turn it
Right.
off. I'm like, okay, never mind, forget it. You know, good idea, bad idea.
Right. Luckily, you weren't in the movie theater.
Well, I mean, it's like you speak, Shelley, of
Right.
of like, you know, being hypnotized, like
Yeah.
through you know, like as children and all that. And you know, it's like hypnosis, it works if there's repetition, right? It works if there's like it's a daily dose of all this stuff that we get hit with. You know, it's almost like, you know, when we're looking to find our authentic self, it's like a deprogramming process, as well as this process of discovery of, you know, why it is that we're here, what it is that we can bring to the fore within our own gifts, our own natural abilities, what we can build on to have, like, you know, skill sets. But it's like you were talking about how you found hypnosis, like it was like something that you was like, what is this? And you like made a career of it, right? It's like and you bring joy into it, you bring yourself into it. It's like, you know, for someone to find that for themselves, it's like it just feels like there's this uncovering process, or this one of where, you know, we take away like just everything that's false, that we no longer need to just like either hold on to, so that we can get to that core of ourself. And do you find that's, I mean, you probably find like it's like you're a detective, right? Like, you know, it's a mystery that's like, yeah, we're going to get to the bottom of this and you know, let the real person come out. Do you find that's kind of some of your enjoyment in that?
You know, my real jolly is that the person comes and tells me what they want, and they leave having gotten it.
Yeah.
So you tell me what you want, what you really, really want. So when they walk in my office, the first thing I say to a client is, if you were to leave this office today, having gotten exactly what you came for, what would that be like for you?
Yeah.
And then they tell me, what is it they really, really want? And then I don't always want to know the reason. I just want to get the result. So for example, if somebody's biting their nails, do I care that they biting their nails because their daddy did it and they're imitating daddy? Not necessarily. Only if we can't just get rid of it, you know? So my goal is to help them put themselves in an altered state and ask their all-knowing higher self this question. Is it in your best interest to regress to the cause or the source of this behavior and solve it? Or shall we just solve it? Higher self, what do you think? And about half the time, the people, when they make their own judgment, say, I don't need to go to the source of that. I mean, if you want to masturbate misery, you can go to a therapist for 20 years and just keep shoveling it out. But that's not the solution. People come to hypnosis for a solution, and it works. So some of the time you go to the source. I mean, sometimes that's the whole session, is to go to the source of the problem and solve it. And Jason, you're so right about repetition. Sometimes repetition can make all the difference. That's why people do affirmations. And sometimes it's interesting, you're hypnotized that fast for no reason. For example, this a crazy example came to my mind just now. I had one of my students doesn't like lemon meringue pie. Why? Because one time she was in a diner and she ordered lemon meringue pie, and when she cut into it, underneath the crust was an old limp straw wrapper. Okay, which grossed her out. Grossed out, straw wrapper, lemon meringue pie. So to this day, because of that one moment, she doesn't eat lemon meringue pie. Okay, that was hypnosis. She hypnotized herself in that moment to be repulsed by lemon meringue pie. Okay, so hypnosis can happen that fast. It could be one comment a teacher made, like, you can't even draw a straight line, so don't be an artist. Or it could be somebody, I mean, I had a very naggy mother who would yell at me, blah, 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 blah. Over time, I came to believe what she was telling me, which wasn't true.
Mm-hmm.
She thought I was stupid. Well, I'm not stupid, but that's what she called me. So you can have repetition as a hypnotic device, negative device or positive, or you can have a one-shot deal. But a real hypnotist has to get over themselves and find out what you need and how you can solve it within your own structure. And that's being mindful right here, right now, of what's your best course of action. Now, every single person listening to this show right now is a genius when it comes to themselves. But they're not a genius when it comes to someone else. They're not, even if it's their own kids.
Yeah.
Because you can never step into somebody else's shoes for very long. For a moment, you can sense them, be with them, groove with them, be in sync, but you're never them. And so there's a real art form in being mindful of self and then stepping out of self and being mindful of that other person. It is a real gift you give yourself. And it's an art form. And I think that's why, Tara and Jason, you're successful in all you do, because you do both. And it's not always easy.
No, it's not always easy. Well, and it's just to remind everyone to be in their own personal power, that it starts with them. Yeah, the mind and heal the mind and healing the body is our, basic nature.
Exactly. I always tell my students, the job of a hypnotist is to help people wake up from stupid trances they put themselves in and walk into smarter trances. Because everything is like a trance state you're going to put yourself in.
Yeah.
So what reality tunnel are you choosing to walk in?
Right.
What trance are you going to live? And that becomes a real conundrum. What are you going to live?
One of alignment.
Yeah.
Well, and no fear, because, there's a lot of that on the internet. It's been a device to really confuse people. And so that confusion is like, okay, there is no confusion. You are a clear thinking human. There is no confusion. I remind people of that all the time.
Yeah, that's really great. And remind people too that there are lots of hypnotists. There's some people call themselves hypnotists, but there's also public relations companies, and they're hypnotists too.
Yeah.
They've studied hypnosis, and there's governments, and there's all kinds of people that are masters in mass hypnosis that are doing their best day and night to have you buy products and buy agendas and buy things. And you need to use discernment and say, what is the real truth that will be best serving me, and then step out of yourself and best serving my family, my children, whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that old adage, you create your own reality,
Exactly.
I mean, what are you going to choose? That the tunnel you walk is going to be the life you create.
Exactly. I got a question for you, Tara, because I'm dying to know. You work with horses.
Yes.
Tell me, Well, how do you learn from horses? I'm not quite sure I know.
Right. So, well, when you, it's really interesting because the horses, I have 15 to choose from. And so I'll choose one. And there's one I like particularly, but there's others, they'll pick the subject, the person who's coming in for the session will sometimes pick three. And so the thing with horses is they're natural healers. Remember that their heart is very large. So you're encompassing their auric space of love. And so, a lot of people have never been around horses. And, horses could step on your feet or they could bump you a little bit. But the bottom line is they never, they try everything they can not to step on you. And so they, not only are you resonating with the horse, but the horse becomes a natural healer. They all of a sudden, I use a lot of shamanic stuff, shamanic signs, where you'll decide to walk into a direction where I'm asking a question, and I'll know how hard it is, or how you're misunderstood in some ways, and the horse reflects it. They start to reflect everything I ask. And so we become like this team. And so the horse then usually is really trying to help the person come to understand themselves on a deeper level. And the horses love it. I mean, I've had like horses who are they act up a little bit and they're into it. They get really into it. Like, okay, I can help this person. I'll do it. And so they get really into it. Yeah, because they take my lead on everything. Yeah.
Oh, you're on mute, Shelley.
Yeah.
I heard a feedback, so I put it on mute.
Yeah.
But I would reckon that the horse is mindful of everything going on in that millisecond, or I would think that's why they're into it. They're right present with that person.
Yeah, they get really into it. Like they know. Horses are very, horses are not mean by nature. They're out of the deer family, and that's why they flee. They have to trust you that you're going to take care of them. But the thing with horses is that they are very sensitive to your emotions, and if they are hurt at all, mostly their teeth. If they have bad teeth or they hurt in their body really badly, that's usually when they act up, like they're mean or they bite or they kick or anything. That's, it's not usually their primary nature on any level. So horses are just, so it's been interesting. It's been just fascinating to work with them and to see, and I mean, people will be talking about their money and it's just the amazing, it's within hours that their life starts to change. It's like the horse and all the suggestions and everything that we and you're in a meditative state because you're walking around and everything. And yeah, it's interesting. It's very fun therapy.
I'd love to do that. I'm sure all your listeners would love to do that. Jason, have you done that?
No, he hasn't come out to do it.
No.
Where do you keep your horses, Tara?
Well, it's not my horses and I have one now because my other horse just passed away. But I work with a girl in Burbank.
Oh,
and so we go out of the equestrian centers in Burbank.
That's awesome. That just sounds like something everybody would really enjoy. It sounds totally interesting.
Yeah, it's just different.
It is. Well, I know that I've sent autistic children to work with horses, and it's helped them a lot.
Right. Yeah, because it's that sensitivity and that, they hold a certain sacred space for humans. Now, horses too, they will ignore you if you're not communicating with them. The moment that you click in with true communication with the horse is they start to communicate with you. And so that's when they become, like, oh, I'm into this, I'm a healer. I'm a healer. They're pretty funny, really. Yeah, I've seen horses get giddy over it.
That's neat.
Yeah.
That's giddy up.
That's right. Hence that term.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. Yeah. But it's been fun work. Yeah, I've enjoyed it.
That's really great. Well, I think all your listeners out there are very, very lucky to, have the opportunity to go online and hear all of these ideas that you folks have. And it's just amazing, really, the tools that are available to us at this time.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just it, isn't it? That we're creating tools. I mean, you have been an innovator in creating tools, Shelley. You have been just wonderful in that and helping people to help themselves.
What kind of tool am I?
So instead of writing a book, you need to write a musical, right? Next time, the hypnosis musical.
Right.
Jason, you say that. Well, I used to be a stewardess with Trans World Airlines.
Oh my God.
I did that.
Oh,
Trans World Airlines. TWA, the only way to fly.
That's right. 22 years I flew for
Right.
TWA. And I started to write and have continued to never finish a musical about flight attendants. And it was all going to take place on an airplane. And I wrote songs like corporate raiders need love, corporate raiders need understanding, that kind of stuff. But anyway, it never got anywhere except in my brain,
Right. You can finish it. You can finish
one of these days, as one of my new projects, because I'm writing 4 new books right now. And, every time I'm into 4 books, I don't have time to think about finishing this unfinished play,
Right.
But, there's only so many things you can do on an earth walk. How much time do you have?
Well, that's just it, isn't it?
Yeah, you have to prioritize it so that, it's like the work that is most important, that can be done. Plus, I'm thinking about how do you choreograph like these dance numbers in a fuselage, in a plane. It seems kind of cramped, like the dancers are going to be like, oh, excuse me.
Well, see, I was thinking that the aisles of the theater would be the fuselage and the stage would be the pilot's center.
That's a big plane.
Yeah, it's going to be a big plane. It'd be a 747,
Right.
And we could have an upper deck lounge for the people in the,
It could be anything, right? It's not really flying, so you could make it anything you want, Shelley.
Right, and we could even sell cocktails.
Yeah, cocktails.
And we
That's a
could
bonus.
give people blankets and pillows. I mean, you could turn off the lights.
Peanuts and pretzels.
Anything. I mean, it's so unlimited.
It is. It's a great concept. You should do it right away.
Yeah, in my spare time, I should do that. But right now, they're doing a lot of painting. See, this is one of my paintings.
Oh, I love it. It's beautiful.
So
I was wondering on that. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, I do a lot of painting. So I'm painting a series of laughing people because I'm coming up with a new affirmation deck called the Joy Deck. And so I have decks of cards that I make where you pull a card. Do you want me to pull a card?
Yes, I do.
Please.
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to run away, grab the cards.
All right, go for it.
Grabbing the cards.
So,
Right.
so while Shelley is doing that, where can people find you, Tara?
Well, people can find me at tarainsight.com, TARAINSIGHT.com. And how about you, Jason? Where can they find you?
My website is Jason D. McKean, JASON, D as in Dragon Lord, McKean, MCKEAN.com.
Yes. Well, he's born the dragon year.
I am a
Yes,
dragon.
Yes.
Wow, you're a dragon. Just don't dragon your ass. That's all. Okay?
That's my motto.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep busy.
So this is
beautiful.
This is my first deck that I put out called the Me Deck. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And this Me Deck, you pull a card for the day. So I'm going to pull a card. It's all my artwork.
Okay. I love it.
The first card I'm going to pull is for you, Tara. So you're going to tell me when to pull the card.
Okay. When?
Okay, when? Right there.
Now, yeah.
Okay. Tara has the card that looks like this.
Oh, beautiful.
Okay, and the card says vulnerability. What does it say? How
Defended.
defended do I need to be?
Beautiful.
So you decide today how defended you need to be. And some days you need to be defended, and some days you can just be wide open.
Well, I love vulnerability. Vulnerability, I believe, is when you're vulnerable, you're open to life.
Good.
So that I love that.
Ask your higher self, is it okay for me to be fully vulnerable today?
Yes.
Okay,
Beautiful.
that's that card. Now
I need to be open to life.
That's right. You are open to life. Now I'm going to do one for Jason. Okay, Jason, you're going to tell me. It's going to be your wake-up call, Jason.
Sounds like it. I'm already
Ready?
hearing sounds from the universe.
Yes, it's such a wake-up call. Okay, now you're going to tell me when to stop.
All right.
I love the eye.
Thank you. Okay, Jason, tell me when.
Okay.
Okay, so Jason got beauty.
Oh, beauty.
Of course.
And it says, my house is my home.
Right.
I make
Beautiful.
my house a home.
Yeah.
Okay.
Beautiful.
Does that fit with you, Jason?
Yeah, absolutely. It is
Good.
about me like inhabiting my space
Beautiful.
in my entire being.
So take a deep breath, ask your higher self, will you assist me today to embrace my highest being, myself, my beauty, and make myself my home?
Yeah. Now, how about you, Shelley?
Okay, I'm going to pull a card
Pull
for
one
myself.
for you.
Stop, Shelley. Okay, got one. Okay. I got two. They stuck together, okay?
Right.
One was image.
Yes.
It says here, fashion or foolish, my choice.
Mhm.
Okay.
Right.
And the other card I got was maintenance,
Okay.
and I take care of myself.
Beautiful.
Otherwise, I'd be like that old wreck. So what I did on this deck was I made pictures.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Paintings. These are watercolors.
Yeah.
And so these are all watercolors. And then the new deck I'm doing is all oil paints of laughing people. So, it's going to be like the Dalai Lama laughing and Princess Diana laughing and Einstein laughing and all of that. And
Love it.
And it's going to be the same kind of deck where you pull the card for the day. And then, so people really like them. They use them all the time because you pull the card of the day and then you kind of, and again, it's making you mindful, which is kind of my theme today is how do you stay mindful? How do you mind your mind? How do you mind yourself? And how do you remind yourself to mind yourself?
Yes. It is. It's beautiful. It is beautiful. So how can everybody find you, Shelley?
Go to, you can go to hypnosisfederation.com, which is a website. And Tara used to be on our board. She's a hypnotist and she's hip and she knows us. And you can find me at Shelley Stockwell-Nicholas. I'm all over the internet. And then the other thing you can do is on Facebook. If you go to free hypnosis -IHF, there's some wonderful interviews, and I'm going to beg Tara and Jason to do an interview with me for our site.
Okay.
Because it's a really good site, and there's lots of wonderful hypnosis ideas, how to do things, how to be happy. And we have forums, but I'd like to do an interview with these guys because they're cool. So Shelley Stockwell-Nicholas, and you'll see a lot of ways to get a hold of me.
Yes.
Excellent. It's been so fun.
It's been great.
As always.
Yes.
Great.
I love you, Shelley. I love you, Jason. Lots of blessings, everyone.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
It's a love.
Yeah.
Bye.